hello, and welcome to Bla Bla Black Sheep, a weekly yarny podcast. This is episode number 10. And a special episode, not only because it's number 10, but because it's my birthday, and I love birthdays. I am Sarah Korth of SEK Handmade, and welcome! I'm so excited to have you here. You guys, this is like a super casual podcast, and so I feel like I've first of all, that I'm very dressed up, and that I've really overthought this one because I really wanted it to be special. So I'm super excited. The thing, let's go in that order. The thing that is bringing me joy is my birthday. I love birthdays. I know there are people out there, and there's like a stigma around women that we shouldn't appreciate getting older, but I do. It's just fun. It's a great excuse not to cook. I am the person who all day long will say things like, you have to be nice to me because it's my birthday. So anyways, I'm super excited for this episode for several reasons. One, because I really thought through what I was going to wear today, because even though it's super cash and all the kids saying super cash, but and I usually I've worn the same thing several times. You've seen several mugs multiple times, but today I wanted it to be special because today I wanted to wear several things that other people made to support and show off other people and designers that I love on my birthday episode. I'm also super excited for this episode because you gotta stick around to the end because I'm gonna do a giveaway, and so you gotta see how to enter in the giveaway at the end. It's gonna be lots of fun. So let me tell you what I'm wearing because they're all by lovely, wonderful designers. So I am wearing my top in this gorgeous teal. I should remake this. I need this in more colors, I think. This gorgeous top is the Treble Maker Treble Maker Tee. Treble Maker. I love it because there's treble crochets. It's really gorgeous. It's nice and nice open. Great for summer. It's got this fun little shell detail around the edge. It was so quick and easy to work up. I tested this for her. Time is confusing. I'm gonna say at least a couple years ago. And it was really fun to make up. Janine is lovely and wonderful. I have a Meet the Maker with her. I'm thinking now. It's on my Instagram, not on my YouTube. Maybe I should do another one with her. She's really just great. So you should follow Janine of Capital Crochet and all the things for her because she's really just a great person. And then I am wearing this gorgeous hot pink shawl. Is the Winterberry Shawlette by Ashley of Wish Upon a Hook. She is one of my crochet besties, part of the Crochet Miss crew, and this is one of those things that's it's just the right size for me. It's nice and it works side to side, and it's nice and long, and narrow, short, long and short, tall and narrow. I don't know. It's got a big wingspan and a short depth, and so it's just real easy to just wrap around, and then it's got this really fun detail with I think these are popcorn stitches. I'm pretty sure they're either popcorns or baubles. I don't know. Get the pattern and you'll know. The Winterberry Shawlette. It's light and easy to wear. And then for earrings, I of course had to go with an earring from the Earring Queen, Amber of Amber Bliss This. She has tons of gorgeous patterns, but also she has opened up a shop where she's selling both finished earrings, and I think eventually she'll have kits on there. So like if you want to try earrings, but you don't want to buy like 3,000, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, yards of crochet thread, because you buy them in these huge spools and I think they literally have 300 yards, and most earrings take like, I don't know, under 20 yards of thread. So you can try it out and not have to, you know, get deep into buying every color of the rainbow of crochet thread like I have. So check out Amber, check out Ashley, check out Janine. Links will be in the show notes to these patterns and to them, so that you can go check them out. Fun for me to celebrate other lovely, wonderful, supportive crocheters and designers on my special day. So, friends, as I said, my birthday is bringing me joy, and one of the things that I love most about birthdays in our family, when it's your birthday, you get to choose all day what we eat, and you get to choose a special treat. So it's my birthday's on a Monday, and so the boys are at school, but Brian and I are going out to lunch at my favorite Mexican restaurant. It's going to be delicious. I'm very excited. I honestly don't know what we're doing for dinner. I frankly don't care, as long as I don't have to make it. That's how I feel about that. I want no one to complain about it, and I don't want to have to make it. Those are my only two feelings about dinner. But for my special treats, I picked two kind of really random things that just sounded good to me. I found years ago this fake fried ice cream recipe that you mix the ice cream. I'm not gonna lie to you, none of these are healthy. When I think birthday treat, not healthy. That's not what I think. I think delicious. And so this has some ingredients that I don't, Cool Whip mostly. It's got Cool Whip in it. And that's a kind of like, I don't know, we won't go deep into this, but it's kind of like a fake food that I wouldn't normally consume. But you mix like Cool Whip and ice cream and honey and cinnamon, and then you make this like crackly, crunchy, like topping to sprinkle in. It tastes like real fried ice cream, but you can make it at home and you don't have to fry anything really. I will put a link to the recipe in the show notes. It's delicious. It hit the spot. And then uncoordinated but also delicious, I made these dark chocolate cupcakes, and then I put raspberry cream frosting on top. They were delicious. I made them yesterday. These were complicated recipes. I wasn't going to ask somebody else to make them for me, so I made them myself yesterday, and then we'll just have them to eat today too, and it'll be wonderful. And I'll put all those recipes, the ice cream, the cupcakes, and the frosting are all separate recipes. I'll put them all down in the show notes so that you can go check them out. Super excited, small business wise, to share with you. I know I talked about this a while ago when Kathy was making this for me. I've had it for a while, and I've been holding off sharing it for my special 10th episode. You guys, I could not be more pleased. If you don't know the story behind this, local ceramicist Kathy of Cheeky Ceramics, I had seen this little sheep on something else she made for my local yarn shop, and I said, I need that on a mug. Can you put that on a mug? And she was like, yes. And then I was like, she said, what colors do you want? And so like, it's all custom just for me. I mean, look at even the handle. And then I said greens and teals and blues, and boy did she deliver. It's gorgeous, and the inside is gorgeous too. I'll take a picture of the inside when I'm done drinking my coffee out of it and share that too, because it's just, it's like a little joy to drink and like see what little piece of the glaze is revealed with every sip. I'm in love. I'll put Kathy's information down below as well. And then I'm gonna share some of my yarn I have sitting over here. Not all of it, but just some of it real quick to highlight a small business that I am really loving. This is a yarn dyer, obviously, and I ordered some of their yarn for the very first time, and I might butcher the name, but I'll put links to all of the things down below. So this is Junie and C, I think. That's their label, if you recognize them. And I've been eyeballing the yarn for a while. Let's see, can you see that? Ooh, enough light, but not too much light. And I dove in and got some. And so what I got was, I got some worsted weight yarn. This, as you know, is like my fave. It's like my favorite color. I'm obsessed. I got 2 of those. This is Raspberry Beret, which I love the name of it. This is a worsted 118 yards for 100 grams. Superwash merino wool. It's gorgeous. It's pretty solid. There's maybe some tones to it here and there, but it's pretty solid. I also purchased Boom Boom Pow, which is this beautiful purple color that actually would go pretty well with the last skein I just showed you. Same base. Oh, no, not same base. This is non-superwash. Is this non-superwash? Oh, no, it's the same base. Non-superwash. They're both non-superwash. I've been getting into more non-superwash lately, just to try. And this is, you guys, non-superwash gets a rap for being really scratchy. This is so soft. It is so soft. It's a 4-ply worsted. Gorgeous. And then if you know me, I love A, bold colors, and B, I love to do like some, I'm really enjoying adding like a splash of kind of like unexpected. And I thought this would be like the perfect splash of unexpected in some future design. Look at that. It's amazing. And I don't know if you can see, but like it's got speckles of like all the colors, blues and teals, some reds and rusts. I really feel like I could put this with anything. Look at that end. It's gorgeous. So this is called Shining Star. I think there was only one left, because I probably would have bought more if there was more than one left. I'm pretty sure there was only one of these left. This is a superwash. It's 415 yards for 100 grams, which makes it a fingering weight. And it's a 3-ply, and I'm obsessed. They're just going to sit here and look real pretty on my table. Though I was lamenting a little bit. This weekend I was actually sitting here crocheting, and I was like, I don't have any place to put my coffee because my yarn is taking up my little side table there. When I do this, I pull out a little stool and put it here so that I have a place to put all my stuff, but I can't leave stuff like that sitting out because Weston runs into it. So, check out Cheeky Ceramics, check out Junie and C, links in the show notes. I'm gonna move announcements to the end. I hope I don't forget about them. So, let's do some questions here real quick. Yeah, fun announcements at the end. So stick around, and you're not going to want to miss out on these. So, it was brought to my attention, as many of my mistakes are, by my wonderful and kind tech editor, Michelle, whose job it is to point out my mistakes. That's why we're not upset with Michelle. We're not offended, but she is a meticulous attention to detail person, and it makes her an awesome tech editor, and just a really helpful and lovely friend. She's wonderful. But she said to me, "Hey Sarah, last week, she said this to me last week. I was watching your episode, and you said in the blocking that you weave in your ends and you don't clip them right away. And you tell us why. And then you didn't tell us why. There's a little clock on my camera that's counting the time, and so as it creeps towards 30 minutes, I start to get nervous about, like, I gotta wrap it up, Sarah. You don't want to push this too long. And I think that's what happened last week. It was over. I think that one was closer to 40 minutes. So I think by the time I got there, I was like, gotta keep moving, and it just, like, boop, left my brain that I had said that I would talk about that. So let's talk about that real quick. Here's what I do. I weave in my ends. I do not clip them short. I don't leave, like, well, first of all, just to start off, I don't leave super long ends. That's a whole nother discussion. We could talk about that later. But I weave in my ends before I block. I do recommend that. I weave in my ends. I don't clip them off right up to the fabric. I block, which if you want a description of wet blocking and how to do all that, check out last week's episode, episode 9, because I go deep in that one, so I'm not going deep in this one. I block, like I wash, I block, I let it fully dry, and then I clip off my ends. Here's why. Blocking, just generally speaking, you're soaking, the fibers are gonna move while you're soaking. They're gonna open, they're gonna bloom. Depending on the yarn, it'll depend on how much, but there's some shifting there, right? Then you lay it out to block, and especially if it's like a lace or something that you're gonna block more aggressively, but no matter the pattern, when you block, you're shifting and moving the fabric. And I had found in the past that when I clipped my ends right to the fabric before I blocked, not all the time, but some of the time in that process of the soaking and the blocking and the shifting, the ends would wiggle their way out. And I didn't like that, because to me it felt like now I've already unraveled some of the winding that I did. So what I decided to do was just leave them until the project was completely dry and set, and then I clip my ends. So that's why I do it, because the moving of the fabric, having that extra bit of yarn that's still hanging out, allows it to shift without unweaving any of the weaving of ends that I have done. So that's why I do it. So thank you, Michelle, for reminding me that I didn't say why, because I wanted to. And there you have it. Okay, so I asked you all to ask me some questions, and a few people asked questions, and that is wonderful. And I will say, in classic little sister style, and I don't know if my sister watches this. She is so supportive, but I don't know that she watches this. But she saw my Instagram story where I asked you to ask questions, and so she asked, "Who is your favorite sister?" It's her, and I only have one. So I do love my sister. If you have little kids that are constantly like fighting and tormenting each other, there is hope. We were, mostly me, I was terrible to her. As a child, my brother, she was the youngest, my brother and I picked on her, my cousin and I picked on her, lots of picking. And we're the bestest of friends now. So like your kids aren't doomed to hate each other just because they're mean to each other as small children. So we grew up, we matured, we appreciate each other, and talk all the time. All the time. It's wonderful. All right, so let's dive into your questions for me about me, The first one is, how did you get into crocheting and knitting in the first place? And what was your first project ever? Okay, I'm going to try to tell an abbreviated version of these stories because I tell this a lot and it could be long. And I don't want to keep you here for hours and hours. I learned to knit when my husband and I got married, moved across the country, literally in days. Married on Saturday, drove Sunday, Monday to Tucson. I started work on Tuesday. I was a teacher. My husband was a graduate student. You can imagine, not a lot of money making. But with my teaching schedule and no kids, and Brian had like, graduate school is like weird schedules. Over the summer while I was teaching, I would often, if I was going to spend the money, which back then was like $200, which I'm like, $200 plane ticket, that'd be nice. But when we didn't have a lot of money, $200 was a lot of money. And so if we were going to fly home, and I had the time because it was summer and I was teaching, I was going to stay for a while. So a lot of times I would go home for 2 weeks at least in the summer. And so one year, I don't remember what year exactly, I come home and this is classic my mom. She was always entertaining us with crafts, even like as children. So I come home and she said, Sarah, I'm so excited. I've decided that while you're here, we're going to learn how to knit. And I was like, I don't want to do that. She was like, too bad. So we did. My mother had been taught to knit. I should get this story from her again because I'm not quite sure who taught her to knit. If it was my grandma. I don't ever remember seeing my grandma knit or do any yarn craft. She was a painter, a wonderful painter. I'll have to maybe I can take a picture of my grandma's. I have one of my grandma's paintings. I should take a picture and put it in here. So I don't know who my mom learned from, but my mom had learned like a long time ago. My mom was also a home ec teacher for a very brief time. Maybe she learned in college. I don't know. She had learned somewhere. This was pre-YouTube. We went to a yarn store. We picked out yarn and knitting needles. And then she tried to remember herself how to knit and then also teach me how to knit. And I had the book. If you are of a certain generation, you're going to remember this book because everybody learned on this book. I think it was just called Stitch and Bitch. And that was the book we got, and that was what I learned on. I was incredibly frustrated by it because it was hard. I was not an instantly good knitter. I was very bad at the beginning and very frustrated. And my mom is wonderful, but she was not a great teacher because I was always the kid, like my son to me, that I was like, you can't teach me anything. I don't want to learn things from you. And she was just reteaching herself. So like she was still kind of stumbling along and like pulling me behind her. So it wasn't maybe the best learning experience, but I think eventually I made a scarf and I'm really sad that I did this, but I remember pulling it out. I had such little yarn knowledge. Had I known better, I would have known that the yarn wouldn't have been good to reuse. But it was this really gorgeous pink yarn, and I made a scarf, like a narrow scarf, and it was awful. It was really awful. And so I frogged the whole thing a few years later, and I wish I hadn't, because here's the thing. I want to encourage you, and I joke about this when I do my Learn to Crochet classes. I'm like, keep this. This is your terrible project. This is the thing you can look back on to see, I've really grown. That first project is almost always going to be pretty awful. And that's okay. That's okay. Keep it and look back, because it's hard to have perspective on how much you've grown unless you can look back on those things. So I tore mine out. So I don't know. I wish I still had it. Then I learned to crochet. So graduate school. I knitted that whole time, just like doing all sorts of fun things. I got into like wool felting for a while, like where you'd like knit. I knit this bag. I mean, it was like enormous, and then you stick it in the washing machine and the dryer and like intentionally shrink it. So I got into that for a while. I made all sorts of things. I made cowls and scarves and hats. I went in and baffled the lady at the knitting store because she said, I said, I want to make a baby sweater. And she said, oh, who's the baby? And I'm like, no baby. I just want to figure it out in like a small version. Anyways, so we moved then after graduate school to Ohio when my oldest was 5 months old. And I would guess about a year later, I was finally like, I need something for myself. I was staying at home with him in this new place where we didn't know a lot of people. And I was like, I need a grown-up thing that's just for me. So I went to a yarn shop that was local-ish to me, and I learned how to crochet. And we just did squares. We didn't actually like make anything. And we just learned the basic stitches. I want to say it was like 2 or 3 lessons. And then I dove right into a baby hat, which I think I actually have. And it was a gift, so I gave it away. So I don't have that anymore either. But I do think I posted a picture of it on my Facebook. So I'll have to like dig through the archives and see if I can snag a picture of that. So that's how I learned, and what my first projects were. All right, lovely asked. It says, it's your bestie, you crochet. It's your bestest, you crochet bestie. I thought I'd suggest some questions that I thought would be interesting. So business-wise, how did you learn to crochet? We talked about that. Do you prefer knitting or crochet? This is a great question, and I remember asking Emily of Hooked Hazel this question a couple years ago, because for a while, when I first started following her, she had been doing pretty even knitting and crocheting, so I knew she knew both. And then she really like leaned heavily into crochet, and so I just, as someone who was also like in business and could do both, I was really curious, and she just said, you know what, I just decided that knitting was going to be my hobby and that crochet was going to be my business. And I've leaned that way too. And honestly, I had not knit anything in a very long time. And I'm knitting a present for my sister for her birthday. If I knew for sure she wasn't going to watch this, I'd put a picture in. But I don't know that she will. So I'll show it later once it's been gifted to her, so that I don't ruin the surprise, because it is a surprise. She knows what I'm making, but she let me pick the yarn, and it's turning out gorgeous. But I hadn't knit anything in a while, and so I'm really enjoying knitting, and it's just for fun, and so that's kind of how it's split. Knitting is something I'm not really designing with anymore. I do have a few patterns from when I first started, and crochet is business, and knitting is casual. So that's how I feel about it. What led me to start designing? Okay, I'm going to try to keep this story short because we're getting long here, and there are a few other questions. I very first started my business by doing craft shows, which I think a lot of people do. And I hit a point where I was like, if I'm going to truly sell the pattern, like the projects, they need to be mine from start to finish. So I started designing not to sell patterns, but to sell finished items. And so I started designing knitted hats and stuff. And eventually I was like, I think I could sell this. And my biggest fear when I first started designing was that I would run out of ideas. And I'd be like, I'm going to be a designer. And 2 patterns later, I'd be like, and I have no more ideas. That has not been the case. I have more ideas than I have time for. So that's good. Yay. It's turned out to be really a passion of mine that has also, as you probably know, led for me to be able to combine my passions, and so I get to teach and design, which I love. Okay, I talked about the first thing I ever made. Personal-wise, what's your favorite song? Okay, I'm going to tell you something weird. Are you ready for this? I don't know. I don't know. You know, if I had to say, oh gosh, I should have thought of this beforehand. It just like came to me as I was talking though. Probably my favorite song is the song that Brian and I used for our first dance. It's a Ben Folds song. I'll put the title up. I'm going to have to look it up. That was our first dance at our wedding, and I love it. I feel like I'm in a music vortex. I'm not quite to the age where my kids are listening to popular music. I listen to a lot of talk. I listen to the news because I don't watch, like, my parents sit down and watch the news every night. I don't do that. So my only news I get is like when I'm driving in the car, or I listen to some news podcasts. I'm pointing down here like that's where my phone is. That's not where my phone is. But a lot more talk. I love some storytelling podcasts. That's a whole nother question about podcasts though, so we'll get into that another time. But I don't listen to a lot of music. With my new car came 6 months of Sirius radio, and the 90s station is really filling me up. Lots of memories there. So that's been fun. Gonna be a little sad when that expires because probably not gonna pay for that. So yeah, I'm gonna say that Ben Folds song. Still can't think of the name. I'll put it up. Okay. I know you like makeup. Is there one item you can't live without? I do love makeup. I feel strongly about makeup, and my strong feelings are that you do you, man. I'm not gonna not wear makeup because like it's forced upon us by the patriarchy. It is not forced upon me. I do it because I love it. It's my little quiet time every morning where I just focus solely on myself. And I don't want to choose just one. I like the whole thing. I love doing eye makeup. I don't know if you can see my eye makeup well, but I love doing eye makeup. I have for the darkness of my hair, and this is not my natural color, as you know. My hair does not grow blue out of my head, but it's not this dark either. It's like a lighter brown. My eyelashes and eyebrows are like blonde. So probably if I had to pick one thing, maybe it would be like a dark brown mascara so that I could do my eyelashes and eyebrows. But don't make me choose. The thing that I could probably most easily give up is lipstick. I don't really wear it on a super regular basis. More of a chapstick kind of gal. But I love makeup, and if you love makeup, that's amazing. Keep doing your makeup. If you only wear makeup because you feel pressured, knock it off. You don't have to do that for other people. It takes too much time if you don't enjoy it. Okay, do you have a favorite mug? Yes, this is my favorite mug. I love it so much. I love the colors, you know, like this deep blue. That's my color, and I love the bright green with it. And the sheep, Kathy outdid herself, so that's my favorite. All right, what's your favorite thing to design? It changes. I like to design lots of things, but right now my favorite for sure is shawls. I am digging the shawls. What is your favorite color? Teal. I like teal. I like teal. I like teal. I also really like the pinks and the purples. Yeah, I like lots of colors. Hot pink is like one of my favorite like pops of color. Okay, I'm hurrying along because I want to get to this last one. And it's a little bit more of a story. And we're already at 35 minutes, but I'm going to go anyways. Okay, so the last question was, tell us about Weston and how he came to your family. So for those of you who don't know, Weston, I'll put a picture here, is my best bud. We hang out all day long. He is our puppy. He is not really a puppy anymore. He's 3. And he's amazing. So, okay, let's see if I can keep this short. When we first got married, Brian promised we could get a dog. I'd always wanted a dog my whole life. My parents were cat people. Now that I am a grown-up and having to care for the pets, I understand how multiple types of pets is harder. So I get why they didn't want a dog. But I always wanted a dog. Brian said we could get a dog. I knew nothing about dogs. Come to find out, he hadn't had a dog since he was like 10. So he didn't really know anything about dogs either. We were young and dumb. And in our dumbness, in our stupidity, we, to try to figure out what kind of dog we wanted, we went to a pet store just to look at the breeds. I really wanted a Pomeranian for some reason, and Brian said, no, I'll step on that and kill it, because it was like 1.5 pounds. That thing was like a chicken nugget. It was so tiny. So I said, fine, what would you choose? And he picked out a Japanese chin. We played with the Japanese chin. He was adorable. We went back and played with the Japanese chin several more times. This was where we went wrong. And then one time we went in to play with him, and a lady came in and said, I want that dog, talking about. She was probably a plant. And I looked at Brian and said, she can't have my dog. So that's how we ended up with Duncan, our pet store dog. He was the best. I highly recommend the Japanese chin breed. They're just sweet as can be. And then about 3 years later, I said, I want another dog. I went searching through the Humane Society. I'm getting to the point here. We got Cooper. Cooper was a collie mix that had been, this was like the height of the housing crash. People in Arizona who had bought, when Brian and I bought our house in Arizona, we got pre-approved, and they told us that me as an elementary school teacher and Brian as a graduate student, they could pre-approve us for $450,000 for a house. Can you see how people got in trouble? We said no thank you because we knew that was insane. But lots of people didn't. They just trusted that what the finance people said was fine. So lots of people were getting foreclosed on. And because most rental places didn't allow pets, they were abandoning their pets. So anyways, we got Cooper. He was a lovely, wonderful dog with us, but traumatized and super high anxiety. He was not friendly. Oh my gosh, he was so adorable. People would be like, ah, and I'd be like, no, 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 no. He'll bite you. He was great with us and with the kids, but he was great with no one else. So when we were looking, so then they actually, even though we bought them brought them into our family about 4 years apart, they ended up being the same age because we got Duncan as a puppy and Weston as an adult dog, and they died a month apart. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. That was 2020. The boys homeschooled for a year. That was serendipitous. I would have, not joking, sunk into a deep depression if they had gone off to school and I had been alone in the house after always having the dogs with me. So we agreed that we wouldn't look for another dog until spring. And then I was stupid again. And around Christmas time, I started looking at dogs. Do not look unless you want to adopt something right away. Because I found Weston. I'd always wanted an Australian Shepherd, so I had just been perusing for Australian Shepherds. And up comes Weston with all his stinking adorableness. And he had been at the rescue for a long time. I mean, a relatively long time because he was blind. And I thought, we could probably do that. And so we went and we met him, and he was just the antithesis of Cooper, the dog who liked no one. Weston loves everyone. He's incredibly friendly. I knew that as the boys got older, we wanted to be a place that all the kids could come and hang out, which would not have worked with Cooper because he would bite people. And so Weston was just just perfect for our family. And so he came. We went and visited. We had to be like pre-approved. We had to have a home visit. This was all during, we got him in January 2021. So this is all like during pandemical times. We met him outside because you weren't going into people's homes then. He was at a rescue in Milwaukee, which is about an hour and a half away. We drove down there a couple times to do the whole thing. And I was nervous. I was nervous about having a blind dog, about what it would be like. But he's blind. The thing that I have learned, I joined several Facebook groups for people with blind dogs. And the thing that I've learned is that there's a big difference between a dog that's blind at birth and a dog that goes blind, especially elderly dogs that go blind. A dog that's blind from birth doesn't know any different, and he just does his thing. He lives his life. He runs into us and walls, especially when he's like, he's like a kid. I always say that dogs are like eternal toddlers. And so when he gets rowdy, just like a toddler, he doesn't pay attention to things and he runs into things more often. But he's only once or twice gotten more seriously injured by doing that. Generally speaking, he's just a joy. He loves people. He loves dogs. He thinks he's a lap dog, even though he's like 60 pounds and like big. My in-laws were over for dinner the other night and he literally tried to climb on my mother-in-law's lap as she was sitting on a dining chair. Like that's not a thing. So I'm a dog person. I love Weston. I love having him, and he's my constant companion because I'm home working and he's here with me. So that is the story of Weston. If you have the opportunity to adopt a blind dog and want to talk to me more about what I know about it and my experience, I'd love to chat with you. Blind dogs are not hard to care for. We left him with my parents who are not dog people, and they were like, it wasn't that bad. My mother and father-in-law are dog people. They get a little mad if we don't go out of town regularly enough so that they can watch him because they miss having a dog, but they don't want the full-time care. So that's Weston, and that's a little bit about me. If you have more questions that you'd like to leave in the comments, I'd love to continue chatting with you. Oh, the giveaway. I didn't forget. Okay, so three special things. Three special things. So I decided that since both the 10th episode, which is like, milestone-ish, and my birthday week fall right next to each other, it was the perfect time for a giveaway. So I have ordered some Bla Bla Black Sheep stickers. I'm so excited. They're going to be lots of fun. I will put, I don't have the physical sticker yet. They're supposed to be coming the day that this goes out, so Wednesday. But I have the design that I had, so I'll pop up the design. I have some stickers coming that I thought would be fun for a little giveaway. And then I'm going to do a skein of yarn from my stash. And I think I'm going to wait until the winner is picked, and then you can kind of say, like, I kind of like this colors or whatever, because I have quite a few skeins I could choose from. So I'll pick a skein from my stash, special for you. If you would like to enter the giveaway, what I would love for you to do is like this video and comment below with your favorite birthday treat. Okay, so that's all you have to do. And then you have to watch next week, because I can't contact you through YouTube. So I'll pick the winners. I'll announce them next week. You'll have to send me a message so that we can get in communication, and then I'll send your stuff out. It'll be so fun. And then, as like a thank you to everybody for watching, I'm going to do a coupon code. If you were on my email list, I had a sale, but the sale is done. So as a little thank you for watching on the podcast, or watching the podcast on my birthday, I'm going to give you 50% off one pattern in my store. So check out the show notes. The coupon code is in there. Links to my shops are in there. I have Ravelry and Etsy, so you can pick your preference of pattern purchasing. Let's do the pattern code SEK B Day 50. I'm just making it up on the spot. So that's the pattern code. SEK B Day 50. All caps. And then just warning, like I can't go back and retroactively put that in. So make sure that it goes through before you finalize your purchase. So thank you so much for joining me. I love celebrating my birthday, and it's been fun to celebrate with you here today and all week. I'll just celebrate all week. I hope you have a lovely week and happy crafting.